Hello? Hi? Hi. Hi.
All right, welcome to the Problem Solver Politics live stream on our new channel, Problem Solver Politics Stream and Clips. It's a mouthful, but it's worth it. This is actually the channel from which we will be live streaming on YouTube and posting all the highlights and the cool clips that we got from everything we do here. However, all of our friends on Twitch, don't touch the Twitch dial. We actually will be doing all of our phone calls, okay, from our live stream on Twitch. We're actually really excited to kind of maintain our relationship with all of our friends that we have on Twitch. So don't think we're abandoning Twitch. Please stay on Twitch. Have fun with us on Twitch. We're probably going to be doing all of our phone calls on Tuesdays. And then on Thursdays, do our commentary here on YouTube, live streaming from the tube of you. Anyway, I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And we're also joined by the illustrious, the beautiful, the effervescent,
keep going.
and the elegant
Yes.
Brittany the Shadow.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Brittany, can you wave into our our camera. We are at the Nevada Democrat Assembly. And I took one of our cameras there, one of our HD cameras, to record Andrew Yang talking. And unfortunately, all this media set up next to me. And when I left my tripod, I came back and my tripod had been moved by one of the chumps from, I don't know if it was the Associated Press or if it was the Las Vegas Journal or what it was. But my tripod had been moved and I checked it. It was also broken. I think one of the other media guys actually had knocked over my tripod and had broken the camera. And that's the camera that usually is on Brittany the Shadow when she is participating in our live streams.
So this was sexist. It was a sexist move.
Yes, it was very sexist.
I knew it.
And so you can't really see her, but you can hear her. But I think that's very fitting for your name, Brittany the Shadow, that we can hear you, but we can't see you.
You can see my hands on a certain camera, and it looks like Adam's family hands on the laptop.
That's cool. So anyway,
About that.
she is indeed here. However, big shout out to our donor, Lily, because we just got a big donation from Lily. You know who you are, Lily, and we thank you very much because we're going to use the donation you gave us to replace that handy cam. It came just in time. Thank you very much, Lily. Perfect. So anyway, let's get started. What a week in politics and with Andrew Yang. Cody, tell us what's going on.
Well, I mean, of course, the biggest news going on currently right now. I'm sorry, one second. It's been the debates, and like I said, I kind of put a title as Andrew Yang versus MSNBC because it seems to be a ongoing. Like if we think Tulsi and Hillary have beef, Andrew Yang and MSNBC have some serious beef, man. So I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit more about that because we talked about that obviously a lot in our video today, but that also. There is I think actually the first conservative running on UBI in 2020 has thrown his hat into the ring. I figure we talk about that as well. So those are two big things going on right now. I'm trying to get the link pulled up. Actually, you know what? We've been talking a lot about the Yang. We'll wrap up with some Yang stuff. I want to talk about this individual. My new man, Zoltan Istvan.
Dude, if that doesn't sound, if transhumanist and the name Zoltan don't sound like they dropped out of a straight Edgar Rice Burroughs novel in the 1930s scientific realm, I don't know who does. Either that or else he is the missing brother of Xenu in Scientology.
Yeah, so actually Zoltan is from Dude, Where's My Car? But
Oh, it is?
yeah, Zoltan.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car? I know. I didn't experience the early 2000s well enough, apparently. So,
I never saw it either.
Oh, you didn't?
Movie night.
God, these people. You guys see what I have to deal with? These people,
These
man.
Philistines.
Exactly.
That's
exactly the word I was looking for. Is Philistines. Anyway, speaking of Philistines, I wonder, or I guess speaking of plebeians, I wonder what Zoltan calls people. So let's get into this. So anyway, Zoltan, this is a media article. It says, meet the microchipped transhumanist cyborg who's running against Trump in the 2020 GOP primary.
Dude, I want to talk to this guy.
So Zoltan Istvan is a transhumanist journalist, and he's running for the U.S. presidency. He's a Republican in 2020, challenging Donald Trump in the primary. Good for him. Istvan, who also ran for president in 2016 on a lesser scale, has written for the New York Times, Vice, and National Geographic, and he describes himself as the founder of the Transhumanist Party. Uh-oh, here we go. The original author of the Transhumanist Bill of Rights and a frequently interviewed expert on AI, genetic editing, tech policy, and futurism. Holy cow, everything in that sentence terrifies me to no end. His campaign policies
but I think it's cool.
Oh, dude. Whew, anyway, his campaign policy for 2020 range from the relatively normal to the quite absurd. From ending the drug war, beating China in artificial intelligence rates, I'm down with that, restoring the environment, and providing universal basic income for all, to the development of artificial wombs, nearly open borders. What is nearly open borders in quotes? Stopping mass shootings and terrorism with robots, drones, AI scanners, and other technology. Oh my God. And licensing parents, or as Istvan explained, requiring prospective parents to pass a series of basic tests similar to a DMV. Oh my
dude, a licensed parent. I did my 8th grade. 8th grade. It wasn't history. It wasn't civics. I can't remember the name of the class, but I did my 8th grade government. It was 8th grade government report on a licensed parent. I'm down with this guy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
When they have those what's the word I'm looking for? Dystopian sci-fi future, like cyberpunk dystopian.
Like written by a guy named Zoltan?
No, like the cyberpunk dystopia is literally this. One world, so nearly open borders, one world economy, one world government. Stopping mass shootings, so we're going to be policed by drones, robots, and AI scanners. So there's going to be things that are scanning your faces. For AI will be like, oh my God, his face is way too tense. That guy's up to something. And drones will surround you. That's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I love the idea. Where was the one? No, artificial wombs. Love that. So I think he's a transhumanist, man. He literally wants the human robot cyborg overlords. Maybe he's got a good pitch. Maybe he can change my mind and convince me it's right. I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. It does terrify me. I mean, oh my God, dude. Again, I want to hear more from the guy. I don't understand holding both policies of wanting artificial wombs and licensing for parents. You want less? Because, again, this sounds like more anti-human propaganda
how do you license?
to me.
How do you license an artificial womb?
You wouldn't have to. But my point being, so there would be this.
You could adopt, I guess?
Well, no. Is he creating a system where it's in order for two humans to actually create a human child, you have to go through bureaucratic red tape? But if you want to create some weird cyborg
it could
offspring,
be a private license, like a scuba diving license, issued by a private party that has its own requirements.
I'm sure that's how they do it. That sounds exactly how they would do it if you ask me. So as a passionate transhumanist, reportedly with a microchip in his hand that allows him to open doors and use his iPhone, Istvan also wants the Republican Party to reclaim transhumanism from the far. We are reclaiming transhumanism now, boys. I hope you guys are ready to reclaim transhumanism for the right. How the hell is he past this? Dude, I have no idea what literal AI drone powered. I guess AI drone powered. Okay, I know I'm repeating myself, but drone powered AI police state does sound. I don't know. I guess no one gets to own that. Both the right and the left could have that, for all I know. But yeah, this guy does not sound like a Republican. The funniest thing to me is he's trying to primary Trump. What Trump voter is going to listen to this stuff and be like, nearly open borders. Robot AI police. Okay. Yeah, I used to vote for Donald Trump, but then somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I think that we should have a robot wombs," and fake womb. I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe." The fact that somebody thinks he could get the Republican Party to reclaim transhumanism is very. Again, I don't know if I agree with the word. I'd love to hear more from the guy.
I don't know if I agree with the word reclaim. I think the Republican Party can reclaim the term UBI, Universal Basic Income. I think we can reclaim the negative income tax. I think we can reclaim a lot. We are the party of abolition. You know what I'm saying? We can reclaim all kinds of stuff, but nobody can reclaim a phrase I didn't know existed until today.
Have you ever heard transhumanism before?
Well, I know that like Elon Musk, for example, was talking about the necessity for humans to be enhanced and augmented. And I have heard of transhumanism.
You never ever heard of like
but I'll tell you this right now. I had never heard of transhumanism in an unironic way that was not in passing, where there was actually a real physical adult attached to the movement.
You got to watch more movies, play more video games, man.
I definitely agree that I have not played as many video games as you. I think I've seen plenty of movies.
I'm just saying, some of the best dives into transhumanism going back 15, 20 years ago with video games. Deus Ex, very good look at this, maybe from like the late 90s.
Uh-huh.
Again, you uncultured swine, man. You haven't seen Dude, Where's My Car? You haven't played Deus Ex. Who is this guy, man?
Hey, wait, am I the only one that thinks artificial wombs would be kind of cool?
Only one here, I hope.
I'm kind of down for it. I mean,
that literally sounds like anti-humanism to me.
I don't know.
I don't know. Giving birth sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would argue that's the absolute. That's the farthest negative end of transhumanism is when human beings basically like, oh, we're leaving all of our burdens on machines, and we actually just give our humanity to machines.
Wait, but hold on a second.
That sounds awful.
What if you could spare a woman the burden? Especially because, like, for example, my mother couldn't have
Aren't
more
you
than
religious?
a second.
What right have you to make that decision?
Hold on. No. Look. No. This is, religious does not mean crazy or irrational. What if you could spare a woman that who was prohibited from having children? Like my mother couldn't have children after her second child. The doctor was actually like, look, your body's developing antibodies to this. Like I counsel you not to have more children. Right. And my mom always wished she could have had more children. Okay. You know, she wasn't walking around like, oh, woe is me, you know, but she definitely did say, if I had a choice, I would have opted to have more children. Right. So, dude, if there's an artificial womb that works, that produces completely healthy, sane. I mean, imagine how many meth babies we would not have. You know what I'm saying? How you wouldn't have fetal alcohol syndrome.
You're advocating against humanity. I don't understand this.
It's not against humanity.
Yes.
Okay, I don't really know how artificial wombs work. Not a pro on this. But you take the sperm and the egg, mix it, and put it into the womb, right?
It's like an incubator, right?
Yeah, right?
Again,
Cody?
I'm not even necessarily religious, but this flagrant notion of just playing God, like it's just it's our right. It's our right as human beings to just play God as we choose. It's like, I don't know, man. Remember Jurassic Park, what they were talking about in that movie? 20 years ago? Like I don't understand this notion.
No, but that's creating an extinct species. Well, actually, God had already created it, so it'd be fine with the dinosaurs. But
and then he killed him off, and we brought him back against his wishes.
Yeah. Well, but hold on a second. Are braces playing God? God gave that man crooked teeth.
No, they're not.
And we wrenched those braces with these metal wires into this straight aesthetic line.
I'm sorry.
Braces are playing God because you are messing with the body the way God created
I would argue God is, and not even God. I would argue when it comes to human beings, the creation of another human being is way more intricate and complex and important than the relative verticality of your teeth. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't seem like something that's necessarily like I'm just saying, man, this is the kind of stuff that creeps me out. Because what happens when all of a sudden nobody could get a license to I mean, ever seen Gattaca?
Yes, I have.
Like, what happens when, like, real born human beings are, like, gone? I guess at a certain point, it feels like just, like, anti-human propaganda. And I am pro-human. I don't care what happens. It's like, I remember when that Planet of the Apes movie came out, the new one, and people were like, oh, dude, like, the new ape, I think it's, like, Andy Serkis. Like, I'm like, I'm for the humans, I guess. I have no problem being pro-human. You know what I mean? So, a lot of this, I think transhuman also comes across as anti-human. Because it's always, like, I want to make us into machines. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you really don't think it's that big a deal for human beings to just stop, like, having kids naturally? Like, it just, like, wouldn't matter?
I want to look more into it, but, yeah, I'm down for artificial wombs.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I mean, I just feel
Wait, we got to know in the chat who else is down
me.
for this. Who else is absolutely down for this? Hold on. I'm logging into the chat. I just realized I accidentally closed the box that my chat was open in. Now my internet's slow. Dang it. Oh, I think that is actually hell. I don't think. See, our idea of hell is largely due to Dante's Inferno, the famous comedy that was written by Dante. All right, or the Inferno, or Infierno is how you say it in Spanish, or hell. It's the classical comedy that was written about, the 7 layers of hell and how there are different rings, and according to how you behaved in this life, you are punished in the next life. And the fornicators were flying around in the whirlwind, almost able to touch each other, but never able to touch each other. There was the people who had lied, who were perpetually burning. There was the people who had...
Sorry, they're just a flood of no's in chat. I forgot what you said, but whatever. It's a bunch of no's.
Oh, a bunch of no's in chat, yeah. So anyway, our modern day idea of what hell is largely influenced by the Italian comedy called Dante's Inferno. That's where our idea of demons with pitchforks and with, flames everywhere comes from. It actually doesn't really come from too many biblical references. More of it comes from Dante's Inferno. But I think Dante got it wrong because he'd never experienced the internet. I really think hell is just wanting to download something and then not being able to download it perpetually. Just, could you imagine that anxiety of just like, I need something, I'm about to show something funny to my friends, but oh no, buffering, no, like that, I think is what hell is. Would you agree with me?
I would say, my, have you lived a comfortable life? Minor inconveniences, eternal damnation. I don't know, man. More or less the same thing.
That was total first world problems.
I want to give it, because I'm going to go through this article more, but I want to give a kind of shout out to this question. So this is a great question, actually. Someone in chat brought this up. We're going back to the article. This is about Zoltan Istvan, who's running against, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, running against Trump as a Republican. Great question. Listen to this. So, are you not worried that we could end up with a Fallout New Vegas Mr. House situation where you have a really, really rich guy or a bunch of rich people who are practically living forever while no one else can get access to this technology? Love the reference, by the way. I told you, video games, man.
Okay.
Look at this well-read journalist is referencing. Anyway, he says that is one of my number one fears. Okay, good. At least he references that's the most terrifying thing ever. It's like that Justin Timberlake movie where like time was like a thing. You could like...
Well, it's like capitalism, You could always have a runaway capitalism where there's a 10% wealthy class, 90% poor class.
You got to... I'm going to go back and read you another one of his to the answer before.
Okay.
So first of all, from a transhumanist perspective, if everyone lives forever, we're going to have overpopulation problems, and I already believe we have overpopulation problems. You can see the climate changing and things like that. Good point, exactly. So I don't understand this urge to live forever. But I think the other one is, what's to keep the Mark Zuckerbergs and the other people of the world from taking this radical technology, using it on themselves, and leaving the rest of us behind? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no. You don't understand. The government has to do it, or else Zuckerberg will do it, which is probably true, right? This is where I lose a little bit of my libertarianism, and all the libertarians get mad at me. I actually think under these circumstances, there should be some government mandate when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to different types of rights to life extension. Hold on. Government mandate on types of rights to life extension. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but... from what I understand from what these, like, just...
Oh, yeah, because do we keep criminals alive on death row? If we can always replace their hearts, we would never actually have a death row.
That's what I do. They come to you. I'm sorry. We could probably keep you alive for another, 3-4 years this way, but it's just no longer fun. Because, hold on. I'll get back and explain to that. Like, this guy literally wants to bring the cyberpunk dystopia people have been writing about for 30 years. He is, running on, cyberpunk dystopia now. So I'll give him that, man. Even it requires government grants and things like that, because the very last thing that I want to do is create a world where the 1% has access to these technologies, or even beyond the 1%, and the rest of the people get left behind in some kind of dystopia. Okay, it's one of the reasons, I don't know, man. That's why I advocate for not playing God and doing this weird stuff.
Well, there's already a moral...
one last thing. So this is kind of where I break down and say a little bit of big government is fine, especially if it's going to protect and make sure everyone has benefits to this new future that we're talking about, the transhumanist age. Dude, this guy... Okay, and the reason why I'm really interested in this, I'm reading this guy, it's obviously some of it's kind of interesting and humorous. I think this guy is more in line with the future than unfortunately.
I'm right with this
cat. These are real
cat.
questions we're gonna.
When
have
I
to
don't
answer.
have to worry about losing my wallet because I got a chip embedded in my skin, I'm down.
You are the worst person ever.
I am down.
There's gonna be the day where it's like Skynet and we're hiding from machines, and it's like, how did this start? And like people didn't want to lose their keys, so they said the government could install these microchips in them, and they could use that to open their houses. So they're like, but isn't that how they track us? Isn't that how they know our thoughts? Yeah, but
incoming.
But people said like, oh, I don't have to check into TSA if I put the mind chip in. Whatever, dude. I get to skip TSA. So if the government reads my thoughts, yeah, like that's what terrifies me. Is like we'll get to the point where it's like, oh, free Netflix. If I like, people will just they'll accept these things, and it scares me, man. Like these things aren't
free Disney Plus if your child embeds the chip.
How about this? I don't think you understand this. I don't know about you guys. I would not. Here's a better way of putting it. If a company like Netflix came to you and said, we will give you your subscription for free if you install this face tracking or eye tracking computer or program on your computer and watch Netflix on your computer or your TV. And basically what it does, it tracks your eyes and exactly what you're looking at on the screen at all times. And
Done.
if you do that for like a pilot period of 6 months, they'll pay for your Netflix. What would you say? Would you say yeah? Would you say yeah?
Okay, repost that. Re-put that question.
Okay,
I would say yes to a free.
If Netflix came to you and it said, we will cover your subscription for 6 months, but we're going to install a camera on your TV or your computer and install a program, and it's going to track what your eye is looking at on the screen. These programs exist. And
if it was just tracking when my eye was looking out on the screen, yes. But what mechanism do I have to verify that that's truly all they're tracking?
I mean, just like let's just say it is. Let's just say you can trust them and they're not lying.
Oh, so what? They could get angry at me, and if they said I was looking at the boobs of the actress, I'm a sexist, and if I was looking at the explosions, I'm a violent person.
Here's the thing: people act like corporations saying what they do have anything to do with each other. No, what they actually do is say, our audience wants to see this, and they put more of it in their shows. What I'm saying is, if
it results in more boobs and more explosions, I think generally the movies would get better.
Easy.
Again, that's what terrifies me is this notion that people will be like, oh yeah, no, dude, you just send your blood to the company and they tell you what food you're gonna like. It's like, dude, why are we just giving? It's the people who are like, oh yeah, my iPhone. You don't get it. I could just stare at my iPhone and then it unlocks. Like, dude, you gave them your freaking facial pattern. Like, they can like recreate your face digitally now. Like, what? I don't understand like this notion that we should just be giving everything away, and that's what kind of scares me with these transhumanist people is they basically are operating.
But you're forgetting two natural barriers.
1 second.
To
These
this
people kind of operate backwards. They operate as if it's inevitable. That's where we're going. How can we get there smoothest? That's what terrifies me. I don't think that has to be inevitable. But I don't know. Call me crazy.
No, well, listen to this. Listen to this, Cody. There's two built-in, unchangeable backstops to your fears, my friend. And one of them comes from classical Italian literature. Okay? Do you remember the Iliad and the Odyssey by one Homer? Do you remember the Iliad and the Odyssey? Who remembers the Iliad and the Odyssey?
Well, I mean, I would say that's not quite Italian.
Was he not offered eternal life by the gods? And what did Odysseus say? What did Odysseus say? He said, no, I say no to eternal life, because then what am I not? A man cannot have courage if he has no fear of death.
How about this?
So he chose mortality so he could be courageous with his men and go back and take back the land of his inheritance.
He was an idiot.
How about this, though? How about thousands of years ago, we knew immortality was foolish. And now we see people advocating for it, running for president.
And then the second thing is, have you seen Terminator? It's like, I believe the fourth or fifth Terminator before they went feminist and sucked.
What?
The one with Christian Bale that only half sucked. Terminator Rise of the Machines or whatever.
No,
anyway.
It's not. Rise of the Machines. You're talking about Terminator Salvation.
There it is. Terminator Salvation. Yes. So in Terminator Salvation, when the T-800 or the T-300 comes through and boom, 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 they're shooting, and then they drop the axle on it and the T-800's destroyed, and then all of a sudden the girl comes around the corner and the guy sees him and then he doesn't shoot. And then he says, why didn't you shoot? No, he says, and she says, oh, I'm human. He says, I know already. If you were a machine, you would have shot. You know what I'm saying? There will always be something that separates us from the machines.
Okay,
there will always be something that separates humanity from machine kind. And we will always fight back.
Okay, okay. But I want to get back to this question. This one cracks me up and kind of gets back to the gist. And again, I'm not trying to like clown on this guy. I think maybe. Well, hold on. He's probably way smarter than I am, but I do think his ideas are weird. But I want to read this one for you. It's pretty interesting. So they say, so do you think transhumanism would die out if we did end up with a socialist society? And he says, no, I don't think it would die out. I just think. So you got to understand the number one goal of transhumanism is really to try to overcome biological death by finding why are we trying to overcome biological death? Whatever. And really what happens when you put socialism into medicine and some other things, innovation dramatically stops. So somebody like myself is 46 years old, and of course all the other older people that have been involved in the movement forever, if innovation in science and all the other stuff stopped, just even for 10 or 15 years, or doesn't go as fast as it is, a huge amount of extra people won't make it to this new generation, or will all of these different techniques to keep people alive. So there's actually a race going on. A race to keep transhumanism and kind of this capitalistic libertarian somewhat framework so that innovation continues to move forward and that people like myself will have a chance in 30 years to actually benefit from these life extension medications and innovations that come out. If we were able to overcome death with science by 2030 versus the year 2050, over 1 billion lives will be saved. So the meaning here is incredibly important, which is why I'm very cautious about socialists being in charge. Now, let me tell you, because this is what, like I said, I'm familiar with these groups. This is, and like I said, this is what this is what people have been critical of in like sci-fi novels from 25 years ago. This is what transhumanism always boils down to. Basically, anarcho-capitalism, because they realize the only way to get the absolute best life-extending technologies, it was absolute pure, just complete like anarchic capitalism, where you just let capitalism run crazy, do everything, it takes over, so that these companies can come up with the absolute best augmentations and modifications, and like they put life-extending things. But there's also something. So one, I think it's hilarious. So these transhumanists are always. I'm like, dude, I'm almost a capitalist extremist. Transhumanists are capitalist extremists because they're like, hey, man, if we have to be capitalist slaves to live forever, so be it. And which is one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. But that's more, and I'm not putting words in this guy's mouth. I'm not trying to, but more or less this argument always boils down to, yeah, so what if we have to be slaves to Apple? We'll be able to live forever. I'm like, that sounds like miserable. Like, why do you want to be slaves forever? I'm not going to get into it. But it is interesting to hear how he frames it right here. He says, if we're able to overcome death with science by 2030 versus 2050, over 1 billion lives will be saved. I mean, it is, to be frank, that's a framing I've never thought of before. When you think about it, it's really interesting when you think of it that way, though, that this notion that, yeah, if we are saving lives, people that, you know, are 65 and die at 85 would theoretically, but I don't know. But then the only problem is that's until the bureaucrats come in and say, "Oh, sorry, you didn't apply for your next extension of life. We had
you've already exceeded the deadline.
Yeah, we had to cut you off because you notice the other thing. That's the other reason why these transhumanists are always very interested in birth rate, controlling birth, because if the government can't regulate every birth from the country, it doesn't work. Like there almost has to be a one in, one out for it to work. Like, remember, this is almost like capitalism run amok. It's going to be like corporations, kind of like bottom lines to a certain level, with working with the government. That's kind of the structures they advocate for, which is, like I said, if you operate under if you're operating under this is inevitable, it has to happen. Let's control it. Okay, I just argue I don't think it's inevitable. But I just love that. I love how like they ask him, like, I don't hate socialism. It's just socialism doesn't let corporations like, you know, test dangerous modifications on people that might get them killed until they get the, you know, like they run through the beta and like the 1.0 version comes out and you don't die anymore. Like that would only work in like pure absolute just, you know, chaotic capitalism. It wouldn't work in a socialist system the same way. The state would have less incentive than a company, right? To force out. But here's the thing. See, we think like, you know, when like, oh yeah, like, yeah, remember like the old iPhones, they're like heavy and kind of sucked. Then like the 3G one came out. Dude, what happens when that's like your freaking knees that like make you jump higher? Like, oh yeah, the first one sucked. Like
this guy runs a 40 in 1 second. What a loser.
Yeah, exactly. oh yeah, no, after a few years, they just like lock up and you have to like peg like it's, you know what I mean? Like, there's the sense of like
just re-weld the titanium.
No, but the only way this kind of stuff can really flourish is in a system with capitalism that's just unchained. You have to be able to like. What happens when like the eye implants they sell you? Like, oh yeah, crap, the screen stops working, so like you can't use your eye screen anymore. I don't know, man. Like, I just want to go over this because I think it's fascinating. This guy's running for president. So there's that. There's a few more questions we'll go through here.
Dude, has he fundraised? Like, does he got a following? Like,
he's got a website.
I got a website.
I'm going through this interview.
Dude, we have got to get this guy on our show.
Oh, obviously, I don't know if you can tell.
Is anybody a friend of Zoltan?
I don't know if you can tell. Guess who knows him?
Who knows? Wait, hold on. Let me guess. Well, Elon Musk.
I don't know. Maybe.
Guess who knows him? Is it somebody we know? Is it somebody in the Yang Gang? Who is it?
Yeah, Scott Santens. They're both pro UBI.
Oh, Scott!
They're both UBIs.
Scott Santens, you best hook it up.
Again, though, like I always say, dude, like, UBI is really a capitalist thing. It's like capitalists love UBI. Again, like I said, transhumanist type people like this future tech world kind of people are always capitalist extremists, like capitalism all the way, baby. Because like I said, it's the only way you can have, it's too hard otherwise to get this stuff through. Basically the thing. To get it through government's difficult. To just like release, back posture 5,000. Like, that one kind of sucks. But it's one thing when it's like, oh yeah, this camera doesn't have live streaming. It's another thing when it's like, oh yeah, your eye's not going to work anymore in 10 years. Oops. Maybe by then we'll have better technology.
I think Brittany would go for better eyes.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And a better back.
Better back, better eyes. Although I do think I have seen, for example, just in artificial knees in the past 5 years, what doctors have done for some of my friends who are basketball players that had really bad knee problems.
ACL, so it used to be career ending. Now it's about a 12-month setback.
Yeah, and these guys, I'm looking at them 6 weeks after the surgery, and they're stretching out there and they're jumping and they're dunking. I mean, and this is cyborg shiz, man. I mean, it is cyborg shiz. Like, so we already are partially transhuman. And here's another thing that I'm all for. And Cody, I'm curious to see if you say yes or no to this. I cannot wait for the day when we have pilotless airplanes. When you look at what Northrop Grumman is doing with their little mini stealth.
What, you mean drones?
Yeah, basically drones, except for
commercial drones?
Dude, they've got stealth drones now. And this is all open source crap. This was it, this is on Wikipedia. This is nothing, top secret or anything. But I have family members that work at Northrop Grumman, and we went to the employee friends and family day or whatever, and they're showing all their cool propaganda videos about look at what we do, defending America, its lifestyle and its assets, and they're showing videos of the stealth drone they have straight up coming in hot, like at 30 knots, all right, and then just landing on an aircraft carrier deck in literally like 20 or 30 feet. It was like it landed on a strip of Velcro.
Imagine that. Hold on, I got a picture for you.
So I would love a 747 where I'm just like, boom, the flight is that much cheaper. There's mounted sensors on the runway that are magnetic, can never go bad. Like, and we're just boom, we're gonna land this cheese.
Better question.
What?
Let's say those are real. They're out there. We're 5-6 years into it, and more or less everything's fine. And then one goes down, everyone dies. What do you think happens then? Do you think we repeal them? Do you think we? I think.
Look, I'll tell you this right now.
I think the thing is you'd have a human being sitting.
But we're already doing that. I have friends that are pilots. Let me just tell you. Just tell me if this changes your mind. I have a friend who's a pilot. All right, speaks Spanish, flies all over the world. He's coming out. I won't name the airline, but he's coming out of Santiago, Chile. All right, flying to Miami, Florida. Him and his co-pilot, the deadhead they call him, are both talking about how it's going to be like, a big long flight and everything, right? So he says, hey, watch while I fall asleep, because only one's allowed to sleep at the same time, right? They put it on autopilot. Not only, so halfway through the trip, they go on autopilot, okay? It was somewhere over, I think, like the Caribbean or whatever. Not only does he fall asleep, but his co-pilot falls asleep. And do you know what wakes them up? The alarm going off on the autopilot that we are entering landing mode. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I know. I agree.
And then like we're going to landing. So he flew a quarter over there was an entire plane of people not realizing both of their airline pilots were asleep for 1,500
also,
miles.
I don't think it's preferable, one. Two, no, but I mean, I was talking with someone. Unfortunately, when we were in Vegas, we didn't get to ride one ourselves. I agree, man. There'd have to be a human being in the cockpit. What I'm saying is, what if we got to a point where there wasn't a human being in a cockpit and something actually did go wrong? Do you think people would demand they'd probably just demand to put a human being back in the cockpit, right? I mean, I guess that's always the simple fix, but then you ask yourself the question of, is it really that much better? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's weird.
So Nathan Butcher asked a really good question that I was going to respond to. He said, and this is interesting, there was a movie made about this, oh my gosh, in the 90s, so almost 30 years ago. Nathan Butcher says, would you guys back your consciousness up to hardware digitally so you could be implanted in another body upon your body's death, aka never die? Now, first off, the question is, what is consciousness? Consciousness is not information. Those are two different things. You could back up my life experience as stored by my gray matter onto another person, and it won't have the same personality, won't have the same suave and debonair. You know what I'm saying? Consciousness is a philosophical question that cannot be answered by technology. So I do believe information soon we should be able to glean, because they're already able to map kind of what we're thinking with synaptic responses. And ooh, man.
Wait, but why would you do that?
Think if, for example, if a soldier who was about to die, who had just seen where the enemy bunker is, imagine if you could upload his consciousness.
But how?
Or the information that he has, just once the technology's there.
But are you talking about almost like some kind of like constant Neuralink? Because if I run around a corner, see a building, and then blow into a million pieces, like how is that data transferred?
A Mind with a Heart says information is not stored in the brain.
What file type is memories? You know what I mean? Like, how do we?
Well, no, it's the brain's file type. It's the brain's file type.
Exactly.
And we know information is stored in the brain because whenever we lose portions of the brain, we lose our ability.
No, but I mean, what is it like? What do those files look like? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do we actually access that information? I'm not aware that we can yet. Right?
You're not aware that we can yet. What again?
Like, we can't physically remove memories from your brain. It's not like
we can't extract
like
the
you know in Zoolander when it's like the files are in the computer. And
we can't pull. It's not like the Matrix where you just plug in to that gizmo.
Like the files aren't in the computer. You know what I mean?
No, but they have developed now. They're starting to develop ways of graphically depicting thoughts. Now they're just colored dots and they're in different areas on the screen. But they have already found ways to brain map the information that's traveling through our brains as our sensory organs are intaking that information and create a moving picture that is based upon those electromagnetic impulses. Now, it doesn't produce a movie we can all watch to see what the person saw. It doesn't speak any kind of language like English or binary or anything. They're literally just dots moving around on the screen. But that is the first step. Alexander Graham Bell's "Hello, can you come to the front?" or whatever that first sentence that he said in the test of that telephone led to what is now FaceTime. Okay? This idea that we can broadcast audio and visual signals, or audio signals and then ultimately visual signals over a line and a wire is ultimately what has led to modern FaceTime. And that's in just less than 100 years, dog. And imagine how much better our research potential is right now.
What about this? Well, there's some policies amiss going back to Zoltan's website. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm being mean to this guy because I think, like I say, he's probably much smarter, knows more than I do about this stuff. It just terrifies me, the concepts. Listen to this, though. Interesting. He says, I would advocate for a new constitution that is malleable and ready to adjust every few years to radically changing times and accelerating technology, which actually, I mean, I do agree that if you look at how much culture and society would change from like 1910 to 1950 and then look at like 2010 to 2050, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the acceleration will be crazy. Number one, man, dude, there's a part of this that I instinctively love, and there's a part that terrifies me. Protect morphological freedom in adults. The right to do anything to your body so long as it doesn't harm others. That's terrifying.
How is that terrifying?
Because oh, I just want to have this experimental surgery to have robot arms installed. So I'm
Why
like Goro
not?
from
Why-
Mortal Kombat.
why
That's
not?
terrifying to me. I don't
How
know.
is that terrifying? It's not your body.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Now, I just want shin implants, so I'm 9 feet tall. Like, dude, what?
But who would want that?
But you'll find out. Like I said, you'll find.
Was that a Freudian slip, dog? You're always telling me that my stuff's Freudian.
No,
was that a Freudian slip?
if I
you wish you were taller, dog.
Yeah, but like LeBron height, like 6'9", 6'10", not 9 feet. What I'm saying is, like, I don't want 4 arms. Maybe like slightly longer or bigger, but 5 of them. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, geez, you know.
Dude, I like this Zoltan guy. I looked him up. He's married to a medical doctor. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, she probably does these surgeries. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she got a bootleg operation in their basement that we could get some shin
Well,
implants
and
for Cody on?
they have 2 little girls. Like, he just looks like this normal family guy, and then he's like this psycho, like, transhumanist
Well,
that I'm
it's
kind of
just-
digging.
It's just like I said, it's just there's people that work in these industries and know more about this stuff, and they realize like, holy cow, realistically, we are going to be able to do like implants on human beings fairly quickly. What's the solution to this? And like I said, some people like this transhumanism, but there's people that just embrace it and say full on, that's great. If I can have leg implants and make me run faster or jump higher, as a human being,
Okay,
I have
dog.
that right. But have you, hold on, did you, I'm going to send you, because there's more he puts in here. He wants to institute a federal land dividend that leases out the trillions of dollars worth of federal land to create a universal basic income for all Americans. That's a fascinating way of paying for UBI is lease
Oh.
federal land. Again,
Wow.
the reason why you have to lease federal land, though, is because he's advocating for a one-world government, I believe. Introduce a fourth branch of government that would be based on the concept of direct digital democracy. The idea that citizens can vote on policies in real time using new technologies that the other 3 branches of government must legally consider. Oh, my God. We're going will of the people. Okay. Back to mob rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I was going to say, I don't know how I feel about that
the
one.
problem with real-time votes is you really only have to get people on your side for how long, right? Create permanent language that assures the government will use resources to protect the country and planet from existential risks such as asteroids, plagues, climate change, nuclear risk, AI innovation. Okay, cool. So we got like the sky, the
Yeah, but
anti-Skynet
we got to
branch.
stop here. We
I like
got
that.
to stop
I
here.
like it.
We'll go through all of his policy proposals.
No, this is one thing. I'm almost done. This is one thing.
Oh, you
this
said
is,
that like 3 policies
No,
ago.
but this is just his amended constitution. Here's the whole thing he's going through.
Okay.
He wants to add a balanced budget amendment to control runaway deficit. So I guess he is a conservative. Or no, he isn't. Conservatives love the deficit. Prohibit laws interfering with citizens' pursuit of health and longevity. These include bans on genetic editing, cloning, and other radical science. We're cloning now. We're doing gene editing.
Okay, dog. So hold on.
Why shouldn't my children be able to see in the dark with cat eyes? I don't know, man. I just
Yeah,
don't
and I
think-
want him to be red-haired, but not like, with freckles.
It was the last couple here is lay the groundwork for rights for other future advanced sapient beings like conscious robots inside robot rights.
Dude, dog,
hold
I
on.
got to ask you a question. You keep saying hold on, and then you keep reading more.
It's just you want to talk about woke? You want to talk about woke?
Okay,
This
what?
guy's already prepared for they're not human rights. He's already prepared for just sapient being rights for conscious robots and cyborgs. Hell yeah, dude. Cyborg rights. You know what? There's a lot of activist type people out there that are looking for a cause to fight for. They really are.
Okay.
Robot rights, baby. Cyborg rights. No one's fighting for them yet. I think what's fascinating and terrifying so much about this guy's platforms, and I'm familiar with these ideas, is that I think a lot of them are more true than not. And it just terrifies me because, yeah, dude, what does happen when we're going to have to legally define consciousness as far as non-human beings at a certain point? At a certain point, there's going to have to be in writing somewhere in law that this AI is not a sapient conscious being. It is a program. Like, we're going to have to draw those
But what
lines.
about when it becomes self-aware that the fear, the irrational fear
that's
that
my
humans
point.
have of it
My point is, when does that line
might
draw?
destroy it. Therefore, it needs to destroy the humans that are fearful of it before it gets destroyed by them. All right. Then all of a sudden, then we got a serious problem. So here, I got to know this, dog. I got to know this.
Okay.
I'm lost.
If you could have a transhuman enhanced body part, would you go for like the go-go, a gadget arm?
Like modifications, yeah.
Yeah, would you go for that? Or would you have like, this
Or
one's kind of
arms.
cool. What about a straight up eye in the back of your head?
No, I would
like a straight up eye in the back of your head. Would you have that?
The
Would that freak you
superior
out?
always is you get something that just makes your brain process information faster.
I want to fly.
If I could think faster, I'd rather think faster. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'd rather be able to think at like lightning speeds. I'd rather be able to think like computer speeds in my head.
Nathan Butcher says Cody is activated. They think you talk and think already too fast, bro. Dog.
Yeah. That's
Are
fine.
you talking about this because you are an augmented transhuman that Zoltan has already sent back in time to seed this conversation into the...
Listen to this one, man.
Okay.
Listen to this one. Some of you guys in chat might have read this already. Wow, man. Declare aging and all diseases to be eradicated as the national health mission of the United States. Eradicate aging? We're going to eradicate aging. I'm telling you, there's just people that look at, and like I said, it's basically just the understanding that technology will run absolutely out of control, so we might as well just hang on while we can.
Do you know how this guy needs to run his presidential candidacy,
man.
bro?
And then he also, last couple things, overturn Citizens United, implement ranked choice voting.
Okay. That's hilarious. He says all this crazy dystopian stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then, oh, by the way, we need to get rid of Citizens United. You know what I'm saying? Forget Roe versus Wade. We're talking these big moral life questions with artificial wombs and everything. He's like, oh, and we need ranked choice voting.
No, I missed the other crazy one.
What?
Again, dude, I don't want to sound like I'm being mean to people who think this way. Anyone hearing this who agrees with them, I'm not trying to clown you guys. Just it worries me. Wow. Roll back privacy norms that inhibit technology and build more walls in society.
Oh.
Transparency is the future. Yeah. Why can't the government listen to your thoughts, man? Dude, you do realize if you have the gas thing and put into your finger when you go to the gas station, you get a free donut to 7-Eleven. Like, that's how they're going to pitch. Because like I said, all of this stuff is tied hand in hand with like absolute just capitalism run amok, which, by the way, I like capitalism run amok. But still, they go hand in hand. Like I said, the government's going to work with companies to make you do it. Hey, you want a free season pass to Disneyland? Just let Disneyland know what you're thinking all the time so they can better advertise to you. Okay, I love Disney. Like, oh my God,
Christian
dude.
Saul brings up a good point. He says we would overpopulate the earth, which is true. You know, like, I mean...
No, Christian, you're missing the other part. I haven't got to it yet on this. No, the other part of the transhumanist doctrine is you regulate births. You don't let people make more people. Because, yeah, we'd overpopulate. So what you have to do is regulate
boomers
births.
Would run the world indefinitely.
No, but you have to
That's
remember.
dystopian.
No, there could still be war. There could still be fighting. There's going to be parts of the world where you can't evenly distribute this technology. I think is where my disagreement with these people always is that there's no way that people that are currently living like as the poorest people in the world all over the world.
Fire Rocket says Cody is more conservative than Cardin. And Prometheus says says Cody should become Dr. Octopus.
I'm not I'm not conservative. I am I am 100% pro-human, and that this at a certain point, because guess what? At a certain point, remember, he's talking here about the rights of cyborgs. What does that mean? What do you mean cyborg rights? We're saying legally on paper, when does a human cease being just a human and become something else legally? That's crazy, dude. The legal distinction when someone is beyond human. That's what we're talking about here, because in a courtroom, it's going to have to happen. What if somebody who's a cyborg punches a non-cyborg in the face and, rips their head clean off? What do we call that? Is it a bar fight? Is it murder?
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's a question we're going to have to answer.
We call it entertainment.
Oh my!
How about after 120 years, if you engage in a lethal activity, you just count as dead. We don't save you.
Somebody,
so if you get in
that
bar fight.
In chat, someone spotted it. I forgot it. And then I think Mine with the Heart mentioned it here. Somebody said the possibility of Yang versus Zoltan. Yeah, it literally would be humanity versus the machines. You know what I mean? It'd be like humans versus non-humans.
Okay, Cody, look. Here is what Zoltan needs to do in order to further his candidacy, okay? He needs to grab the first $500,000 that he gets in donations and produce a sci-fi movie in 90 days in which we ask all these moral questions. And the hero has this moral question. What is life? What are transhumans? What does death really mean? How do we regulate birth? And all these deep, I could see Keanu Reeves being like the mage that controls.
How about this right here on his website? Reshape the abortion debate with an artificial womb. Use government funds to help develop the artificial womb. Offer a choice beyond just being pro-life or pro-choice. What are they
So
talking
maybe instead of killing the child, you put it in an artificial womb so somebody can adopt it.
No, how about this?
Right?
Yeah.
No, how about you put it in an artificial womb so it goes into the queue when 15 years from now it gets to be born? Because guess what? We have too many people. You have to wait your turn. You have to wait for people to die off due to mishaps or injury, or car accidents or war or something.
I don't think a viable fetus could just wait and stop growing.
An artificial womb? How do you know?
Because as a human tissue, as long as it's receiving nutrients, the mitochondria is
all
creating ATP.
I'm saying is, trust me, these people are really smart. They realize if we live forever, we'll just be overpopulated. So they're going to regulate births.
I trust this in the moral hands of Americans.
It's
I don't trust it in the CCP. They would just start harvesting.
You trust this in the moral?
What? I think at least Americans ask the moral questions about this kind of thing. Actually, we suck so badly with the abortion argument that maybe I don't trust us.
What is the choice between abortion and birth of the baby? What is it? It's born eventually, just not now. So that's what it always comes down to, is we have to have a list of who's allowed to be alive right now. Because remember, at a certain point, death no longer becomes a natural part of life. It becomes something the government more or less decides.
That's funny. A Mind with a Heart says, "Stop saying all boomers are the same. We are not."
Dude,
true. There's a few good men, just like the movie says. A few good men.
I don't want to live forever. That scares me. That's more terrifying than these cyborgs. I don't want to live forever. I want to die when I'm in my 80s, so I'm not like totally decrepit and old. And I want to be cremated. I don't want anyone touching.
But why your 80s? I'd miss you, babe.
Well, you're older than me.
Can we at least make it to like our hundreds?
No, I don't want.
You'll still be hot in your 80s.
No. Well, that's my point. I want to die hot. I don't want to die.
How about let's get to this guy's hot immigration takes. I love these. I love this one. Listen to this. Okay, so I advocate for nearly open borders, followed by a far more fair and efficient immigration policy. However, I would address the potential negative effects of open immigration, such as homelessness and crime, with the larger police force utilizing instant AI facial recognition, drones, and tracking devices. You can come, but we're watching you. You can come freely to America, but you must contribute to it. No freeloaders, no violent criminals, no free people.
Hold on. I gotta say, this would solve the catch and release system where people lie about their immigration refugee status, knowing that if they don't show up to the court date within 90 days, they've got free reign of the United States of America as long as they're not caught. Would they come in and just, we just microchipped you? You got to be at this court date on this day.
Keep listening. All immigrants would be on a probationary period for the first 3 years after they enter the country. This probationary period means 24-hour drone surveillance. Some government issue technology may be used to track. It does mean that. Yeah. It does mean that.
So all immigrants like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
All immigrants must leave a $5,000 security deposit in order to get into the country. This is returned to them after 3 years hold on.
This sounds like Switzerland. I'm not kidding you. This sounds like Switzerland.
With average interest. Always the capitalist. After 3 years of integrating into the system without using the resources of the state or causing criminal issues. The $5,000 will be spent to deport violators who break immigration laws. Now, what's just hilarious to me is, like, what happens when you come from Honduras to America and you can't use any of the government's programs, and you aren't cyborg enhanced superhuman either? How do you compete in this country where you're being followed by drones? Anyway, I provide border patrol with loud bilingual night vision drones to monitor our borders. A virtual wall will also secure the U.S.-Mexico border with facial recognition software can see if immigrants are on criminal lists. Immigrants can only cross border in designated areas, and immigrants must be proficient in basic English and respect American customs. That is perhaps the most bizarre border policy I've ever heard in my life. And no flame, no hatred of the guy. Interesting, but what a bizarre policy, man. That, like, we're...
I like that last point, though. They must be proficient in basic English. Like, amen.
But it's also like...
Amen.
Who would come to this country? It's crazy. You have to put a $5,000 deposit to be under 24-hour security watch for 3 years. What? That sounds crazy. Any other good, stop mass shootings and terrorisms with drones, robots, AI scan. Okay. Installing public player. Guys want to hear this one? This will be fun. I like this one. Ready?
Sure, what?
Install in public places deterrent drones. Scanners, robots, and technology where criminals are caught before they can carry out their harm.
I don't know. That's like Minority Report. That's straight up Tom Cruise stuff right there, man.
Oh, but do you see what I mean? Like, it doesn't it almost feel like these are policies from 50 years in the future?
Yeah, dude.
Like, it feels like we're not ready. We're not ready for the one on immigration was great. We are not ready.
We're still
in
arguing
order to-
over whether or not Joy Behar really was in
Oh,
blackface.
remember I was telling you about one world government? World democratic government began to spread the seeds of an informal world democratic government by facilitating.
Okay, this guy's dead to me.
It's
He's
literally
dead to me.
it's literally one world government.
He's dead to me.
Encouraged the UK to reconsider its choice with the European Union, began talks to merge the United States, Canada, and EU in a joint partnership.
He's dead to me.
Where some decisions are democratically. Whoa! I'm going to read this again. Listen to the words I'm using. Began talks to merge the United States, Canada, and EU in a joint partnership where some decisions are democratically decided. Some?
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
Invite Mexico for discussions on the topic too.
Hold on.
Oh, they'll be invited.
No,
That's
there's
nice.
parts of this. There's one part I agree with in this. Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear what it is?
No, you have to listen to one more thing first, and you can tell me.
Okay,
your thought.
fine.
Develop international consortia to create a transhumanist federation under which transhumanist goals like a cyborg Olympics and other agencies and projects can be formed. This guy really is running for president in 2120, not 2020. Holy cow, man. This man's in the future, man.
Cyborg Olympics.
Yeah, my man's in the future.
The hilarious part, though, is he's interested in a transhumanist alliance, not to protect them from the public when the public rebels against them because the first transhumanist does something bad. And just like the X-Men got outlawed and needed to protect themselves, you know, he's not doing it to protect himself from the majority mob rule. It's to make sure that we have a cyborg Olympics. That's
no,
his
but like
reason.
but I mean, I think the biggest thing to get back to of all these things, and honestly, we're gonna do videos dissecting this guy's morgue. I mean, he's running for president. He also supports UBI. He has an interesting way of paying for UBI. But the thing that was creeping me out the most, I think it was back up here. Yeah, the idea that lay the groundworks for rights for other future advanced sapient beings like conscious robots and cyborg. Again, my man's running for 2020, not 2120, not 2020. But holy cow, man! It's
I just followed him on Instagram. I'm kind of excited.
I really want to talk to this guy. I don't know if I'll be able to. I really want to talk to this guy. I think he's got some.
So
interesting ideas.
here's the only time. This is the only time I've thought. I'm a huge national sovereignty guy, and one world order. Screw it, no way. But there are things that individualized sovereign nations cannot do. For example, we are overfishing the Pacific and the Atlantic. Bluefin tuna, for example, is down to 4% of its historic populations. It's actually considered endangered. They're trying to farm it, but they have to feed it mackerel, which is a wild fish. Okay, and farm fish, not only are they like 14 or 15 times more toxic because they're stagnant, they don't, have open range in the ocean. They're not as healthy. The flesh does not taste as good. And if you look at the biomass of the United States of America, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast talking to a very interesting scientist that brought up the point that like 4% of the biomass is fish in the ocean, and then like 90% of it is land food, you know what I'm saying, or land mammals. And there's no way that 4% of wildlife can feed, a large portion of that 90% of living humans. Like this idea that we can just feed off of wild caught animals mathematically does not work. All right. And is unsustainable. So who's going to stop Japan from skimming and cheating on their quota? Because Japan agreed with America, agreed with Australia.
Or cyborg soldiers against the rules, and you dominate the world with your cyborg army.
Okay.
That's another real concern.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me finish my first concern before we jump into the cyborg army.
I'm telling you.
But there's really no authority that's keeping Japan from overfishing and endangering all of these fish because there's no enforcement mechanism or body. Now, either we just make international waters more than just 8 miles out to sea, and we make it like 800 miles out to sea.
By who's right, though? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that like if we just allow Japan to overfish because culturally the fishing industry in Japan is wildly dishonest.
But what do you mean by we? What right have we to say what the ocean deserves? You know what I mean?
What do you mean right? Because we depend on it as well. Think of it this way. If I have a bottle of drinking water and there's Japan on one side and there's us on the other side, or let's just say you on one side, me on the other side, I have the right as a sovereign person to pee into that bottle, but it will contaminate it so you can't drink it.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the destruction of a mutually shared natural resource.
But here's the thing, though. It's like
if you and I both depend on the same ocean for food, and they're taking all the food to the point that the ocean's fish go extinct, how is there not a boiling problem for the other interested party that needs to fish from it as well?
But I'm saying is when you go to Japan, you're going to jam by who's right? By my right? By right of us, America? By right of the humankind? By right of Earth? I'm just saying. Who actually enforces this?
There is no enforcement mechanism, and there would have to be a higher enforcement mechanism than the U.S. and Japan that was mutually agreed upon that was allowed to engage in violence.
Like a global government. It's the only
that's
either.
What
But I'm saying is you're either.
I don't believe in a global government, but I think there should be, for example, like a global fishing organization that could enforce the rules and had a 50 cal mounted on the hood of their boat, and they could put a hole in the side of your boat if you're overfishing.
But the argument we just had is the argument about basically a one world government. I believe there's by no right you could go to someone and say, I mean, like if they're like, for example, I don't think we could go to some country in the rainforest and say, you have to cede your government to us because the rainforest is being deforested and you're operating incorrectly. It's not by our right to make that decision.
You would have to prove the immediate impact of their rainforest upon you.
To whom?
Is far different.
Prove to whom? Mother Nature?
To the One World Climate Justice Organizational Body.
My point exactly. I don't believe those should fundamentally exist. I think it's tough. I think it's one of the reasons why diplomacy is so important and we have to work together. Because, yes, you literally can't. I'm here by name of no one to tell you how to run your country. Isn't going to work. You have to find diplomatic options. This idea that the global government has decided that you must pay the price is not the world I want to live in. I think diplomacy will always reign. I think if you explain to Japan it's bad for them to overfish and you make a deal, everyone goes home happy.
I think we need to ask the fish what they think. I think animals need to learn how to talk, and I think there needs to be more bluefish
I blame them.
rights.
I blame them for not speaking up. As far as we know, we don't know they can't talk. We just know they aren't. So,
They're scared.
Exactly. Until they speak up and let us know that they can't talk, I'm just going to assume they're not speaking up. So, at a choice. But I don't know, man. I'm just saying that is because I've looked into this stuff. That is always the argument between one world government, yes or no. I fundamentally believe nobody has the right to go to any group of people and say, "Hey, you are misappropriately using this planet, so we're going to punish you." Because it's like, if what they're doing is really so bad for everyone, there's a better way of going about it than punishing them on the behalf of, like you said, some awful organization based out of Brussels that is going to be faceless and ran by unelected people who decide how we fish globally. Like, it's crazy, man. But like I said, there's only, like you said, at the same time, though, if all of a sudden the ocean's unusable and the whole world ends because one country wants to overfish, that isn't right either. I'm just saying I err against the one world government. I hear I hear the one too, but I still err against it because, like I said, I believe no one has the right to go to another country and say, America decides how the water is used in this country, in this world, goddammit, and we're going to say you can't fish. Even if it's the right thing to do. It's tough, right? It's like a philosophical dilemma. I just don't believe anyone has the right. I don't believe it. So because of that, I don't believe there should ever be a one world government.
I prefer to show up and say my culture is superior because we have better technology than you.
Amen.
And then
you know what the best way to say that is?
You know
what the best way to say that is?
Just run the show like it's our show to run.
No. Do you know how we tell other countries our technology is better than theirs?
How?
On the other end of a drone strike, 5,000 miles away. I'm serious, dude. What do you think when a country disagrees with it and all of a sudden we just blow up onto their buildings without a human being ever crossing the border into their country? And basically say, hey, I want to do it again? Want to see what happens?
Hey, man, look, if it brings world peace as dictated by my definition, then
I don't know. Anyway, we've already
so this opening 5 to 10 minute convo.
I'm sorry, guys. Trust me, guys. We're going to do more Yang content. Obviously, we'll always do Yang content. We're over the next few days at least. I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of content about the Zoltan guy. If he brings transhumanism into the mainstream, I'll make sure he does. If he doesn't, god dang it, I'll force it in. Because these are discussions we have to have. Like I said, they terrify me. I don't agree with all of them. But these are discussions we have to have. Because it is literally where we're headed. Again, I think these are more 2050 issues than 2020 issues, or even 2150 issues. But these are issues of the future.
I like when it's on full screen better.
What do you mean?
Without that stuff in the background.
It is.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Sorry.
You know, it's an interesting thought. I just had it.
What's an interesting thought?
I feel like people are gonna watch this video, like Cody's prosperity what's that word? Cody's offspring.
Cody's
Okay?
offspring.
Like
yeah.
way in the future, they're gonna watch this video and they're gonna say, "See, our great great grandpa, he foresaw it," and they're gonna
Yeah,
think
you are
he's
the new
Oracle.
John-
He's literally the Oracle.
Go to the Oracle. He foresaw the cyborg revolution.
Well, no, hold
In
on.
Terminator, it's John who? Who's the leader of the revolution? Hello, this is
John Connor.
John Connor.
No, but wait.
Are you
No,
the
wait.
new John Connor,
Yes.
Cody?
Yes.
Can I explain to you guys really quickly?
Cody is
Can I
John
explain to you guys
Connor.
how you take for granted all of this stuff and why it is anti-human propaganda? Do you notice that you
That
just took
is
for
deep.
granted that one day that I will have great grandchildren? Because if I live
Yeah.
forever, for why would they exist? They're in the queue. They'll be born 100 years from now.
They'll be in artificial wombs.
Yeah, they'll be waiting. They'll be in the literally will be in the birth queue. I won't have great grandkids.
You will time travel and you will
I won't
burst
have
open that
grandkids.
artificial womb and
In this reality, I probably don't have kids. Children will be a luxury of the ultra wealthy.
well,
How's that sound?
How them apples?
You get to live childless forever while your children are in the queue. When is my baby gonna be born?
you bust open the queue.
You got like
Be a
17,
rebel.
17 years left until he's in line.
I've watched enough Star Wars.
Hey,
to
you know
how
what?
to be a rebel.
You know what? Listen here, hon. Maybe there'll be a disaster or a war. Maybe something will happen and we'll free up some births. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, it's gonna be 12 years. Like I'm serious. That's the future, and it's scary.
That is kind of freaky to think that you couldn't have a child unless other people died or expired, I'm sure we'd call it then. And you would literally, in order to have your child, be like forced. I don't know. At that point, I just think God steps in and Jesus comes again and the earth is purified and rebaptized by fire as it was with the flood. At that point, Cody, we're going to go some really deep biblical stuff here.
We can't. We've already gone too long. I can't.
Okay, but hold on a second. There is legit scholarship out there that is analyzing some of the oldest texts in of the Old Testament and apocryphal scripts from the Old Testament. And I've read some serious scholarship that believes the reason why Noah punished the earth was because of selective breeding and genetic manipulation amongst the people of Noah. And he didn't like it because he
Wait.
said, you are playing the role of
Hold
God.
How did they do
And
that though?
Once again, are you saying thousands of years ago we came to the conclusion that this stuff's bad and we shouldn't be doing it? Perhaps these are concepts that should be off limits for a reason. We've known this for 2,000, 3,000 years. I agree, man. I feel the exact same way.
So, and that's from your text, bro. That's from your people.
But it is weird. We're starting to see a shift because it is an interesting point. What are people going to say when they would be literally kind of modern Luddites standing up and saying no human augmentation, no human modifications? Crazy. No rights for robots. There's going to be that fight is going to happen. Do robots deserve rights? We're going to have a game came out called Fallout 4. Maybe 2015, I believe Fallout 4 was released. That's actually a central theme of the game. It's like Blade Runner almost. Do the Blade Runner type replicant robots deserve rights? Yes or no? And you can choose whether they get rights or not. It's like Blade Runner, the same concepts. Like, are they actually human? Do they deserve rights? Do they have if they have feelings? Crazy. I'm saying is I don't really necessarily look forward to having to answer these questions. But there's going to be, I say in the next 20 years, a judge sitting at a stand who has to make a decision if like a cyborg is responsible for like a murder because they're legally a cyborg and not a human being. So even though what they would normally do would fall under simple assault or like manslaughter.
Bro, you're just going Blade Runner on us, man.
But no, I'm saying is that is the literal, like this stuff is existing and it's getting faster.
Okay,
and
well,
faster
so
and
hold
faster.
on.
If it's as cute as R2D2, yes, they have rights.
Yeah, if it's as cute as R2D2. This is why I'm telling you, all of our problems started with suffrage. No.
Hey, well, wait until a non-augmented humans can't vote. Wait until that. Oh, you couldn't afford your brain aug? Sorry, Brad, can't vote. No way someone without brain augs can't pass the vote test. It's just crazy, dude.
Okay, so hold on. I asked a question in the chat because Fire Rocket and a bunch of people, I at first I thought it was sarcastic, but they actually said so. They said they like this better than Yang content. I don't know what that says about the quality of our Yang content, but in other multiple streams last month, they said they want us to do the silent movie watch along, and they would also like me to do my historical rants and have like a history segment.
Yeah, we're gonna be streaming.
You know what
more.
I'm
We have
saying?
multiple
We're gonna
streaming
be so
channels
we
now.
are actually gonna be streaming more than just Yang content soon. As we're building the studio, finish replacing the camera. Once again, shout out to Lily. Thank you for the donation, so we can get another camera
And just
for the
as
one
we
that
in
broke in
general
Nevada.
build up, just in general, are just how we're running. Like I said, we're ramping up content. Obviously, we just started the second YouTube channel, and we're gonna be, like I said, we're gonna be streaming on YouTube, still streaming on Twitch. Highlights from both will be clipped down and posted here. We're gonna be just updating everything.
Yeah. So George Washington says, "Don't stop the stream." Cody.
By the way, shout out
Cody,
to George
the people have
Washington,
spoken.
first American president. Great president.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Actually, I always it was weird. Can you say the first was the best? Like based off what? Right? He was the first, of course.
Oh no, he was great. You want to know why? In my mind, he was great.
Why was George Washington great?
He's the only person I know of that I can think of immediately right now that was given monarchical power and turned it down for democratically elected constitutional republic. He was actually
There's got
asked.
to be Roman Republic leaders who did the same.
I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but also in what maybe, but then we're digging down 2,000 years. You know what I'm saying?
Roman
I mean,
Republic's
he
pretty well
had
documented.
ultimate power. He had ultimate power to run his people, get whatever concubines he wanted, get whatever land he wanted, kill whatever political
No, he didn't.
opponents he
didn't,
had.
actually. It's kind of a myth.
George Washington could have done whatever he wanted.
No,
man.
he couldn't have.
He was beyond a
No,
charismatic
he
leader in
couldn't have.
those
But
days.
Here's the thing.
And he gave it back to the people.
No,
That
but
is the ultimate
no.
street cred.
He would never cheat on Martha.
What Brittany said is kind of the point. No, he actually didn't. He literally fought a revolution against a monarchy. I get that he could have probably convinced people, but you cannot run a revolution against a monarch because monarchies are bad and then somehow convince yourself you're going to get away with becoming a monarch himself. He would be at the end of a guillotine if he became a monarch, and he knew it. He just led a revolution against the monarch. Why would he want to be one?
But because people are that stupid, and when you're a charismatic leader, even though in the name
They're not
in the
that
name of
stupid.
democracy, you fought
George
the
Washington
king.
is not stupid. That's crazy.
Oh, come on.
That's crazy.
It's
man.
the proof. Well, look, no. You're
Why
being
would a guy who
you're
just-
being illogical because the same reason
you're
we
being
argue that
illogical.
regime
Guys,
change
be
wars don't
nice.
work.
You're being
Hold on.
illogical.
No.
There's
no,
no
no.
logic to what you're saying.
We argue
No
that
logic to what
hold
you're
on.
saying.
We argue that
None.
regime change wars don't work because people choose the type of government they want. You can't just go into a Middle Eastern country and say, "Hey, stop listening to your imams, start listening to your democratically elected officers that we allow you to choose in our voting booths." Okay? That doesn't work. They keep listening to their imams because they want to listen to their imams
But you're not
because
listening
that's
to
the
what
way
I
their culture
said.
is.
You missed what I said entirely. You don't understand what I said. Okay. Why would George Washington not want to be a monarch even if he potentially could have been one? Perhaps George Washington was uniquely aware of just what happens when the people get tired of a monarch. They do things like lead a long and bloody revolution against you. And maybe for that reason, he was like, I get that I could be a king, but a lot of times during like the 1700s and the 1800s, these emperors and kings kind of find themselves at the end of a bayonet. So maybe I will just chill at my plantation.
But that's your psychology. You would chill on a plantation.
I
But
would
no,
chill
you-
too.
You would chill.
No, I'm not talking about my psychology. I'm talking about what I perceive to be a psychology of an individual who just led a successful revolution against a monarch. Like he understands what happens. He just did it. He just fought against the monarch.
But
and
Fire
won.
Rockets agree
Why
with
would he
me.
want to be the monarch himself? It doesn't make any sense.
Look, Fire Rocket
Doesn't
said.
make any
Fire
sense.
Rocket said he put it in. He took the words right out of my mouth. He stepped down as president when there was no term limit. That's the greatest thing
Okay,
he did.
but here's the
He
thing.
stepped down
Okay,
as president when
okay.
there was no term limit. And this
Okay.
wasn't like layer cake. I'm
Okay,
not talking
but what I'm saying
layer
is,
cake.
No, but get this. What I'm saying is perhaps George Washington also knew that realistically he either would have to step down at some point or be deposed at some point. So why not now at any point?
Dog.
Why not now?
You're messing with my boy. By the way, George Washington.
Your boy George.
Yeah, he's my boy.
Hey, brother, shout outs to George Washington. And the
George
first,
Washington was Mormon. So,
What doesn't make any
no,
sense?
I'm just kidding.
Was the
Church of-
Mormon faith? I don't even think it existed when George Washington was alive.
I was just seeing if somebody would catch that.
How about that? You want to flex?
Anyway.
How about you want to flex on Mormons? Just tell them that George Washington's older than their faith.
George-
Okay.
Yeah, look, we probably already baptized him anyway.
Oh.
So, see, we can do that. So, anyway, a mind with a heart says Cody's even cuter in real life than he is on camera. Oh! And George Washington says Cody is cute. Oh! double O.
Double
And
date.
then double date, yeah. And also,
Like George Washington.
well,
saying
George
that.
Washington in the chat says that's his real name too.
G-Dub, shout out
And
to G-Dubs.
apparently he died twice, once by drowning and then once by having an asthma attack, and he was revived both times.
Great man.
So I don't know if this guy's got the craziest life story known to man or if he's just completely full of crap. If he's completely full of crap, I'm disappointed, but I'm still amazed that you could make up two really awesome stories like that. If the stories are indeed true, then you have my respect, sir, and I want to be your friend, because a guy named George Washington must be good, and having died twice and come back, boom, that is sick. That's about as BA as it gets, man.
Yeah, it's like, what was that movie?
That's like Navy SEAL cheese.
Flatliners?
Yeah, dude.
Ever seen that movie?
That's otherworldly.
With Kiefer Sutherland, I believe. Ever
Yeah.
seen that one?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen
Flatliners, you mean the original one from the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flatliners was crazy, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, we're actually already supposed to be done.
We are over.
But
So
do we have to stop right now, Cody? Every
these-
party has a pooper, and that's why we
Yeah,
invited you.
I'm being a pooper.
These
being a
transhumanism. Like I said, guys, keep an eye out for more transhumanism content. I am definitely diving into this Zoltan individual. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Always a plus for me. Yeah, if you guys haven't really seen, there's a
He's like your boy John Delaney.
Not quite Delaney. By the way, guys, shout out Delaney. I got to see John Delaney speak live. Oh, I was fanboying out. Seeing the Delaners in person.
Yeah. Oh, did you see me stand up? I was like, yeah, John Delaney.
Same thing.
I was like the only one standing up, and he looked over and he's like, yeah, and he pointed right at me. My boy John Delaney.
Hey, shout out to Delaney, man. He's but like I said, so we are definitely because I mean transhumanism is like one party. Also, the whole thing about basic income we'll talk about, and objective value index. Zoltan is his 20-point plan. Oh, here it is. So we're gonna go through a lot.
Dude, do we need to start a Zoltan channel?
Yes.
Like, do we need a problem solver politics
find
of
out.
Zoltanism?
Hey, I'm gonna start off just doing a couple of videos, right? And we'll see, right? We'll see.
Okay, we'll try it out. We'll see if we can't get the Zoltan. What's the Zoltan gang going to be? There's the Yang gang.
Oh my god.
The Zoltan
Wait,
Zoomers.
wait. One last thing before we end. You are going to love this, Cardin.
Oh no, what is it?
Defend transhumanism. Defend transhumanism
transhumanism.
from socialists and authoritarian forces.
Yes.
Create long-term.
Wait. He's suggesting one world government, which is the ultimate authoritarian structure. But he says defend from authoritarianism?
Listen, it'll explain why. So create long-term policies that defend science and technology from being overrun by socialist and authoritarian forces. Deregulate science and technology innovation as much as possible. Create incentives and cultural support for capitalism and laissez-faire markets to thrive. Aim to create and embrace more scientists and entrepreneurs. This guy is the most radical politician I've ever. Like,
Dude.
you know what's funny though?
Yes.
You know what's funny? We see a lot of politicians that are very radical, kind of like leftist socialist types that actually advocate kind of like for direct socialism almost, right? We see that more frequently. This is like someone I've never seen like I said, basically anarcho-capitalist. I mean, this is one of the greatest sentences ever. This is one of my favorite sentences ever on a campaign website ever. Create incentives and cultural support for capitalism and laissez-faire markets to thrive. What does it mean to create cultural support for laissez-faire markets to thrive? And then aim to create and embrace more scientists and entrepreneurial celebrities. Like, okay, I swear to God, anyone out here who who took like sci-fi in their literature courses in college, my friend read a bunch of these where it's like, this is literally the corporatist people as brands, capitalism, transhumanist society that people have been warning us of. Somebody's like not warning us about it.
Yeah, would the Tesla cyborgs be better than the GM cyborgs?
And then last one, create the Longevity Peace Prize, which awards innovative longevity and medical research activists and scientists. I mean, like I said, the scary thing is I think this guy's more or less right. I think he's 100 years. I hope he's 100 years early. I
Cody,
think he's 50.
You're going to like this.
All right.
Marion H. brings up a good question and says, why does his policy page look a lot like Andrew Yang's?
Because Yang is a smart man. That's why. He's got good ones.
Hey, did you guys see what Prometheus said?
What?
Scott Santine just put the word to Zoltan.
Oh, awesome, man. That is awesome.
Now, we're such...
Shout out to Scott, by the way. Friend
Now,
of the show. Very
we
cool guy.
mislabeled our stream Andrew Yang versus MSNBC and Trump's new cyborg opponent.
I'm actually going to change that right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to completely... We're going to have to completely change this stream to introducing Cody's boy, Zoltan.
No, I'm just going to have it Trump's new cyborg opponent.
No, but we got to have the guy's name in there so when he's going to look for it, it says Zoltan.
And I think Cody's right. Zoltan's going to run in, what'd you say, like 2120?
He would win.
And he's going to be the same person because
be alive still.
he's still going to be alive.
And then
Yeah.
you know how Bernie Sanders got up? He's like, the millionaires and the billionaires. And then he was interrupted and asked about Medicare for all. And he was like, I wrote the damn bill. You know what I'm saying? In 2120, this guy, when we're arguing about cyborgs, will be able to get up there and be like, I wrote the damn bill. You know what I'm saying? Just like Bernie was the original gangster on Medicare for all, this guy's going to be the original gangster.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's the reason why I'm talking about this so much, and it does stand out to me so much. Yeah, you're right. He's the first person running for president in the United States. He ran in 2016. They mentioned in this interview. I'll have the interview I'll post it so you guys can read it, and I'll have it in the description here as well. Basically, he ran in 16, but now he said he's actually going to be on the ballots leading up to Super Tuesday and everything. You're going to be able to vote for him in the primary. God, I almost wish Andrew Yang wasn't running so I could tell my friends to register Republican and vote for this guy in the primary. I want to see him on a stage because, dude, transhumanism.
I found the guy I'm voting for.
How about this?
Seriously, I'm voting for Zoltan.
This is the thing that I think is crazy is that there's always. I was talking. Here's a great example. I was talking with Carden. A lot of you guys probably seen this on Twitter. The guy Paul Krugman, I believe he's like a economist, right?
Yeah, Paul Krugman.
He famously said that the internet will have as much of an impact on the world as the fax machine. Which wasn't true.
Boom.
I think, like I said, we kind of read these transhumanist things, and they might. Some people think it's. I see some of you guys in chat that are like, I don't know, man. Like, no, like I said, we're just joking, man. I'm not actually going to unironically advocate for this guy, but I am fascinated with his idea because, like I said, transhumanism is going to come up, man. It's part of the debate that needs to be in the political debate. We need to hear more about this stuff because it's happening, man. Like, there's going to be the court case where we have to legally decide you're a cyborg, not a human, and we punish you differently, or you're immune to laws, right? Like, for example, what if you were doing something that somebody with unaugmented hearing would not be considered like felony, like eavesdropping? But because your hearing's augmented, it's almost like you've bugged the house. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, you could hear through a wall. So you could say, I'm just standing in a parking lot. But it's like, no, you could hear through the wall. You're spying on these people, and we know you are because you're a cyborg. Like, that stuff has to come up when he's going to talk about it. Now, obviously...
Well, we'd have different statutes of limitations.
No, but I obviously think this guy's 60, 70 years too far in the future. That's why I'm interested in talking with him or learning more about him. I want to hear what he actually has to say because it's really fascinating. But it is really interesting, man, is that, like, we need to hear more about this stuff. Again, it terrifies me. I don't think we have to deal with it yet. But like he said, people that look at the technology lens, like it's like the clock's ticking. I mean, like you said, if he can somehow expedite the process by 10 years, theoretically it saves millions of lives, right? I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's very interesting. I don't know more, but again,
there's some funny questions.
I want to hear more about what this guy's talking about because here's the other thing too. Because I think this is stuff that's actually going to be in the political world, Yang's going to have to speak to some of these ideas eventually as well. And he kind of is. Yang has been addressing the AI angle, but in a way, like he's kind of introducing... Basically, Yang's kind of walking people into the idea of how this technology is going to impact the future. And a candidate like this guy is kind of slapping you across the face and saying, we need to decide how we're going to have civil rights for sentient robots. And it's like, what? But the thing is, that might be 12 years from now, which isn't that long. So crazy stuff, man. Crazy.
I think Zoltan is from the future, and he's coming back now to
It
try
does
and
feel like that,
save
doesn't
the
it? To
future.
Punish us.
It does feel like
You
that.
know?
No, but Cody is John Connor. See, I
Yes.
just feel left out of this because, babe, you're so hot. You got to be from the future. Cody,
I mean, yes.
he's dropping some deep shiz here that's making me think we called him the Oracle. I think you seeded this idea that you are Cody the Oracle 6 months ago as a precursor to you pushing the Overton window.
People spoke. It wasn't me. People
Right
spoke.
now. Oh, you say that people spoke, but I watched Inception, and I don't know if that's how it works, dog. So right now, I just feel like a chump that didn't travel from the future to the past.
You feel like a chump now? Wait until people with robotically enhanced speed brains make you feel like an absolute like brain dribbling moron everywhere you go. People will literally think circles around you because they're doing better at laissez-faire capitalism than you are. That's the future we're headed towards. I think whether we talk about it or not.
A wealthier cyborg.
She wouldn't have a choice. It'd be like mind control. They think so much faster than you. They'd be able to manipulate you, and you wouldn't
The
even know
pickup
what's
lines
happening.
would be better. This guy would just like walk up and sweep you off your feet because he's done a spreadsheet in his mind. would we still stay connected, babe? Or would you leave me? Oh, you're thinking about it. See, that's what he would exploit.
No, you know what's crazy? You know what's
That's what he would
crazy?
exploit.
With your future enhanced brain, you think about that fast. That's you thinking about things. Is okay, that's abnormally long. That is coming, man.
Okay, Andrew Graham says, we love Yang, not this dude.
How about
That's
Orbis
good
is
to
like,
hear.
I'm so lost. I guess that's what happens. So just to recap for anyone who doesn't know, we're talking about this gentleman. He recently announced running for president. His name is Zoltan Istvan. I'm pronouncing his name probably incorrectly. Anyway, though, he's running for president, and he is a transhumanist who's running against Trump in the Republican primary, but he also is a UBI advocate. He actually has a fascinating plan for UBI. Was it here that he mentions it, or I believe it's actually here he mentions it? It's so interesting. Basically, what he says is, here we go. He would lease out federal land and then use the money from leasing out the federal land to fund the UBI, which is, I think, actually, I'd have to see all the numbers. And look at me. I look at the equations and go, that checks out, man. The math adds up. I have no idea. But that does sound reasonable to me as a way you could actually fundraise. It's kind of interesting. So this guy's talking interesting stuff. Like I said, he's also got some 2150 policies mixed in here, like laying the groundwork for the rights of other future advanced sapient beings like conscious robots and cyborgs. Like I said, my man's from the future. He sees 100 years ahead of us, but he's also talking about a future where you live for 300 years potentially. So, I don't know. It's just fascinating.
So, okay. So I know that we have to go soon, so we have to live up to our promise to finish conversing a little bit about Andrew Yang versus MSNBC. Give us the Reader's Digest version, Cody. The Reader's Digest
I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat are familiar with this. MSNBC, after kind of shafting Yang, leaving him out of a graphic over the weekend at the debate, he once again, and he went 30-something minutes before he got to talk at all. And then, good question. What's the UBI a month amount? He actually doesn't have it listed right here, but he has it. Let me look. Your basic income. Oh! Guess how much he wants to give everyone a month?
Don't tell me.
$3,000.
$1,000 a month. So apparently Yang.
Oh.
But here's again. Remember, Andrew Yang didn't fall out of a tree and say UBI is a good idea. He was looking into the UBI community. $1,000 US probably is about the number they say makes the most sense in the UBI community. Because like I said, Scott Santons, I saw him tweet out that he's I know this guy. He's a good guy. He's in the UBI community. And like I said, he seems to not only be a good guy, he seems to be literally 50, 60 years ahead of us. Like, holy cow. And that's all I'm trying to say, man. I feel bad. I feel like it might sound like I'm like making fun of him, but just to be frank, I'm just shocked by this stuff. But I don't know, man. He's probably right. It just shocks me to read these things. Like, wow, we're going to have to worry about protect morphological freedom in adults, the right to do anything with your body. Yeah, like body modifications. We already kind of have that, but I mean, it's not like getting, gauged earrings so you can put big, gauges in your ears. We're talking about like getting ear implants to let you hear better. And I'm like, hear better. I mean, like hear better than a human should be able to. It's a fascinating question. This is what I think's funny though. You want to talk about how Andrew Yang always says there's countries other candidates talking 20th century solutions for 21st century problems. Dude, this guy's talking 23rd century solutions to 23rd century problems, but it's like they're now. I don't know, man. It fascinates me and it terrifies me at the exact same time. That's why I want to learn more. Because also, like I said, if Andrew Yang wants to be forward-thinking, and he is forward-thinking, and he wants to keep addressing the future, which he is, these are eventually the issues he's going to have to start addressing. I mean, I think he's walking people into the idea of AI. But what this guy's talking about right now is real. Governments are weighing right now, how should we be using drones, facial recognition, and artificial intelligence to better security? What he says here, I don't have it here, but the idea of trying to mess around with privacy norms to better have technology and AI serve us. People are having those conversations now. I know Andrew Yang knows we're having the conversation. Andrew Yang is probably in some of these conversations up there, so I think Yang is going to be talking about some of this stuff too, because this is the future we're headed towards. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm
absolutely crazy.
Can we go watch The Matrix now?
So check this out,
That's
bro.
the past compared to this stuff. The Matrix is
Dude,
here.
I'm dropping a straw poll as we speak into the chat, and everybody's got to take
this
it.
boomer thing or two. Doing straw polls
I'm
now,
doing
huh?
a straw poll. What do you mean boomer thing? You taught me how to do the straw poll.
I know. I was kidding with you. I taught you how,
okay.
yeah.
Whew, I almost had to get angry.
No,
I'm just kidding. Anyway, I've counted 10. No, so I just dropped a straw poll, all right, into the chat, and I want you guys to take it. Who would want to live in Zoltan's world? You know what I'm saying? Who would want to live in Zoltan's world? Yes, maybe, or hell no. Yes,
Okay.
maybe, or hell no. There are 39 people watching. I assume at least 15% have the ability to not 15, at least 15 to 20 of us have the ability to access this straw poll via their cell phone or their desktop. So go on in. Let's jump on in. Oh, I got a lot of results so far.
I like it.
Wow, this is interesting. Have you voted yet, Brittany
I
the
did.
Shadow?
I voted.
You voted?
I voted.
Have you voted yet, Cody the Oracle?
No, I'm checking it out.
Okay, I'm refreshing the results. Oh my gosh, it is evenly split right now.
Sample size?
A third, and a
Sample
third with
size?
15 votes. That's a big
Okay.
sample size.
Okay, good for the viewers.
There's 5 for yes. There's 5 for hell no, and there's 5 for maybe. Not bad for our very first stream on the new channel.
Mine chose 6, 6, and 5. No.
Oh, really? I'm refreshing results. Oh, 8, 6, and 6 now.
Yeah.
And maybe we've got some believers.
Oh, I love Beebs.
Maybe. I mean, here's the scarier thing is we probably don't get to decide. It probably is just what happens. God, that's what terrifies me. Because like I said,
Hey,
what
did
terrifies me is I'm pretty sure he's right.
Did your authorities in the future know that we were going to make this straw poll? And
Now, I don't come from the future. Zoltan does. I don't. He does.
Yeah.
all right, dude. So
We're gonna be in the future, looking back on Cody the Oracle, asking for guidance.
Yeah,
That's what we're gonna be
we
doing.
will all be looking back 250 years from now when we extend our
Stephen
lives.
M says definite yes for me. George Washington says yes. Aiden says voted. Marion voted. Prometheus voted. Royalty 20 says hell no. I'll admit it. I think Royalty 20 is right there with you, Cody. Yo, what's the Twitch channel so I can sub? Says Aiden Walsh.
Oh, cool. It's Twitch.
Well, you can go to psplive.org, right?
Oh, thank you so. By the way, I believe
It's psplive.org. Will automatically
I
link
believe
you
I got
there.
a shout out. I hope not. I believe I got a shout out to Ted over at the Yang stream for helping us hook us up with that. Shout out to Ted, man. Very
So
cool
Christian Solid says yes. Bob McJuicier says yes. And T. Dot voted maybe. And Fire Rocket said yes. Aiden Walsh calls you Cody the all-seeing eye. You could get an all-seeing eye in Zoltan's world.
I was about to say, see, coming up pretty soon, and you'll have again privacy, right? Like what happens when you get ever seen the movie Triple X with Vin Diesel
Yeah, dude.
when he has the binoculars that can see
well,
through
I've
clothes?
seen like
But what happens?
20 minutes of it on
Are we
TV.
gonna have Are we gonna have to have laws that retroactively punish people for not responsibly using eyes that let them see through clothing or walls?
How could you irresponsibly see it? Or irresponsibly use that?
No, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like it is. That's why I actually really want to talk with this guy, and because I'm sure there's people. Like I said, the thing about the kind of like transhumanist movement is a lot of the people involved in it they're pretty sharp individuals. So they actually do have nuance and they think through all this stuff. It's one of the reasons why I like reading all this stuff. It isn't just kind of we're gonna do this because I don't know, we'll do it somehow. They think it through, man. That's why I'm so fascinated. That's why. I don't know, man. Here's the other thing. We were kind of talking before. How are you going to win over former Trump voters? I definitely think if you want to offer something that Trump isn't offering, Trump isn't offering any of this, man.
Dude. So, T-Dot asked a really good question. Imagine if you asked people from 1920 how they would like to live in today's society.
That's very
that's what I was about to
wise
say.
point.
That's some
No.
Odysseus stuff
There's
right
no
there.
more milkmans.
Odysseus.
Oh, there's no more milkmen.
All we have to
Did
do
you
is
just say milkmans, babe?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. You did the ironically or
Wait,
unironically.
have you ever seen the video of the guy who was in jail from 1975 to 2005 or 2010, and he gets out of jail and he just literally doesn't you see people walking by with smart he literally they view him right when he gets out of jail when he first hits Times Square for the first time, and he has. You can see he's so overloaded, he has no idea what he's saying. The smartphones, because you recognize, obviously New York City wasn't torn down and rebuilt, but it kind of was. He didn't recognize anything.
Well, back in the
People
70s,
were
Times
walking
Square was
around-
where you picked up prostitutes and
Yeah,
got blood.
But no, people walking around people weren't walking around on phones like this. They were walking around Bluetooths in. They were walking around talking to themselves. Everyone was walking by each other. Everyone was staring. He said everyone was staring down at their hands. I couldn't figure out why. Everyone was looking at something in their hand.
Okay,
To us, they're on their phones. To him, he's why are people looking at something in their hand? I don't get it. It's it would be that times a million, right?
yeah, so Prometheus brings up a good point. He says, still Yang Gang, but I'm going to promote Zoltan as well. I want these two sides to come together. Hashtag Yang
Wait,
Gang
remember Zoltan?
Alliance.
He's
Well,
a
I'm not
Re-
done. I'm not done.
Oh, yeah, remember, Republican primary.
Okay, yeah, no, I get that. But hashtag Yang Gang Alliance with hashtag Z Fighters. So when I asked what would the Zoltan gang be like, I think he might have just found their name. They are the Z Fighters.
What was Zoltan's cult called? And dude, where's my car?
George Washington brings up a good question while you're thinking about Dude, Where's My Car?
It's a great film, by the way.
He asks, can you come up one weekend and support the Sacramento Yang Gang, please? Hey, we love documenting the Yang Gang.
Yeah.
Where'er they be. Give us a formal invite, dude. Have some kind of event, and we are in like
we just
Flynn.
need something on letterhead. No, yeah,
Yes.
exactly. No,
and if there ain't no red carpet, we're turning back.
no.
No.
You gotta watch that. We'll
it's
like I
true.
said, we'll keep our DM me on Twitter. We'll keep in touch. We'll find out a good weekend for us to come up north because we might do a thing where we might just we'll figure out between the two of us. We'll probably do something over the next little while where we go up north for a couple days, hit up Sacramento, San Francisco, whatever, and come back down. Like take a train
help
or
those
whatever.
poor leftists up in San Francisco
we'll
clean
just-
up all the
I mean-
human feces.
Oh my god,
Act of service. So anyway,
that's what we're doing.
Aiden Walsh agrees with you that one of my favorite movies is Dude, Where's My Car?
Hold on. You have to watch this. I'm gonna make Carden watch this when we're done streaming before I leave. George
No,
Washington.
because we're going to get a copyright strike on
No,
YouTube.
no, no. I'm gonna make you watch it off air with me.
Oh, okay.
Is this? There's a scene, Dude, Where's My Car, where one guy has the word "dude" tattooed on his back, and the other guy has the word "sweet" tattooed on his back. And he says, "Oh, dude, you got a tattoo on your back." And he's like, "Oh, what does it say?" And he goes, "Sweet. What about mine?" So the other guy says, "Dude." His name, but what does
Yeah.
mine say? And it just keeps going in circles. It's almost like an Abbott and Costello sketch, but
I see. Like, who's on first?
it's basically the
Like, who's on
it's
first
basically
of the 20th century?
Yeah, the 2000s version of Who's on First. I think it's hilarious.
Or the 21st century, I should say.
I think it's hilarious.
So, anyway, it's crazy. My neighbor, Chris Geeter. Oh, yo, what's up?
Yeah, whatever.
Chris?
Shout out, Chris.
It's crazy. My neighbor was put in jail in 2005, got out this year, put in at age 17.
Yeah.
Might be the closest you'll get to
Before the iPhone.
Wow.
Before the iPhone.
That's pre-iPhone, dude. 05. Dude, that's pre-Trump. Like, I wonder what he thinks about all this political
Well, no,
insanity.
you know what's funny? Think about it. No, it wasn't. Trump was still a famous person.
Yeah, like back when Democrats were rational
here's
human
the thing,
beings
though.
before they believed
when you
like
talk
in Russian
pre-Trump,
conspiracy
you're talking
theories.
all the way back in the far distant past of 2014. You know what I mean? Like 2005, dude. Holy cow, 2005 is like before. Like I said, the iPhone and Facebook in 2007, I believe it was, really was the dawn of the new age. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but it really was. It was then.
I remember I used to hate the original iPhone keyboard because I got fat fingers and I was like, I want the buttons on my Palm Trio. I want the buttons
Palm Tree.
on my Palm Trio, dog. So anyway,
Yeah, we
last
gotta-
comment because we
yeah.
got to wrap it up.
We're
In 4
40
minutes, we're
yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
At 7:15, we're gone. Matthew Taylor says, I went to the doctor's office today wearing my math hat and everyone was so excited that I loved math. Facepalm. Sorry, man.
Hey, if you
I had the same experience
Yeah.
trick-or-treating. The only comment I got off my math hat was this guy's like, oh, sweet, what's your math hat, man? I was like, yeah, it's the official slogan of Andrew Yang. And I was like, I took it off and I was showing him it's from the Australian Yang gang. He was like, oh, I'm just a math teacher. Oh, I thought you liked math. And I was like, oh, okay.
They need to make, what is it, South Dakota? If it were South Dakota, would just say meth, right?
Oh, geez, brutal.
You get that? You know what I'm talking about?
I get it.
I have to admit, man, people are clowning on them. That was a very good awareness campaign. I am aware of North Dakota, one of the Dakotas' meth problem because of that campaign. Genius awareness campaign. Everyone says, oh, they look stupid. Yeah, you are now aware North Dakota has a meth problem. Who looks stupid now, huh? The awareness campaign that got the whole country looking at North Dakota. I hope it was North Dakota, not the other one. Or you.
Yeah. So any last questions? Hit them up. We've got 3 minutes. Before we get out of here.
No, I mean, I've worn my math hat in public a couple times. Like I've said, I just don't wear hats generally. If I ever do wear a hat, it's a math hat.
Also, isn't Elon Musk doing a stream here where he announces
8 Pacific.
like,
It's in about 40 minutes.
doesn't he announce the truck? It's the Tesla truck,
Yeah, he's
right?
going to be announcing the beginning of this, the Cyborg. You know what? People waited how many years for Cyberpunk 2077 to come out? Well, guess what? You're a fool because it's just going to be Cyberpunk reality in 2024, I guess.
So in Hawthorne, California, we're going to see Elon Musk's Cybertruck. That's going to be pretty cool. So last question's right here. What happened with your voice card? Oh, dude, Stefan, my man. I'm struggling still from the Nevada event that we had with the Yang Gang there. We did 3 rallies in about 24 hours. all of them very long and with really loud music. So just me and Cody having to yell directions at each other and stage directions and the whole 9 yards. I'm still recovering from this. It was pretty wild. George Washington says, I was told by a Republican that they do vote in the Democratic primaries just so they have a backup candidate. And it depends on what your state's laws are. In California, you can't do that. Anyway, Zoltan would be my Republican choice. Awesome. Aiden Walsh says, off topic, but what if you're only awake to collect information for your dreams and that your dreams are the real you? That is some deep shiz right there, Aiden. That is some deep shiz.
Hey, what if, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. What if my subconscious is trying to use you to tell me that everything's a simulation right now and none of you exist, huh?
That's true.
What if it's my subconscious trying to break through and tell me that's what's actually happening and all of you guys are figments of my dream?
God.
Huh?
That's called God.
Okay.
Moroni's promise. It's in the end of the Book of Mormon, dog.
Okay, I'm tired
I'm telling
now.
you. Hey, hold on. We got one more minute. One more minute. Anyway, actually, I'll wrap it up right here. Everybody make sure that you follow us on PSP Radio 1, where you can get more news on the latest, greatest with Andrew Yang and apparently now Zoltan. So make sure you follow us on PSP Radio 1.
Any overtly pro-UBI candidate. I definitely think UBI is the capitalist solution to a lot of our problems. And like I said, man, Zoltan's, he comes from a uber-capitalist political wing. That's why I really want to hear more about him as well. Because, like I said, I think of myself as a capitalist extremist, but this is probably closer to what capitalist extremism would actually be. Which, like I said, I'm a huge capitalist. I love it. That's why I love seeing more about UBI and all that stuff.
So anyway, make sure that you follow us on Twitter. Even if you're not on Twitter, get on the Twitter. I had to get on the Twitter. I had to unboomer myself and get on the Twitter. All right. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. All right. Problem Solver Politics stream and clips. And make sure you also subscribe to our primary channel, Problem Solver Politics, where we put up all of our daily videos and so on and so forth. If you can, leave us a voicemail at 1-833-PSP-RADIO. We do all of our voicemails during the week and a live call-in show on Twitch on Tuesdays. So you guys can make sure that you sub to us on Twitch on Tuesdays. For that, check out psplive.org. Also, if you're on Instagram and the Magical Book of Faces, we do relatively regular posts on both those social media platforms, so you can check us out
I tweet
there.
like a fiend.
Yeah, Cody tweets like a fiend. We Instagram and Facebook, not like fiends, but maybe like small imps or goblins, I would say. Like imps or goblins.
Actually, I was going to say like a boomer, but no, boomers, Facebook like fiends.
Yeah.
And then millennials, Instagram like fiends. Zoomers are too cool for all that stuff.
And they just tick-tock.
Yeah.
Tick-tock. Like you walk the walk. Gonna tick-tock, tickety-tock.
Dude, we're going to have an
Boom.
army of vain narcissist people that believe the world's against them.
Yeah. So anyway.
The West will be unstoppable. Everyone always says, oh, Westerners are becoming soft. Are we? Really? Are we becoming soft? Huh.
Hey, that's a philosophical
You have
argument for a
to,
different
you
day.
know what, young people.
You said you wanted to leave at 7:15.
I
It's
know, but I want to
7:17.
leave on this
Okay,
last
bye,
point. I want to leave on this
no,
last
hold on,
point.
hold on.
Is that Fortnite's teaching our kids, them and the boys against the entire world. Everyone's out to get them. Social media is a non-stop psychological barrage on young people, literally from the moment they wake up to the morning they fall asleep, for basically the majority of their life until they're like 30. You survive Fortnite and non-stop psychological torment 15, 20 years. Just saying, man. People coming from the third world think they're tough. Okay.
All right. Rock on. Anyway, follow us on PSP Radio 1 on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to us on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube. Problem Solver Politics stream and clips, as well as Problem Solver Politics. And follow us as we answer voicemails. And you call in on Twitch at 1-833-PSP Radio. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you guys tomorrow.